This is Stephen Thomas' story once again. I promised I would come back with a plan for the birth of Universal Zion, or in other words, New Millennial life. A plan to reach as many people as we can worldwide and invite them to come and participate in a cooperative free enterprise type of a lifestyle. One that, again, respects free enterprise, respects private ownership, respects the need to maintain competition, but through a spirit of cooperation, more so than competition. The world we live in has taken competition to its extremes, and that's not a good thing. Competition from honest men, women, always honest business owners, and always with an altruistic spirit of looking out for their neighbors would be a good thing, because that would be more cooperative than it would be competitive. But when competition rules, when competition drives men to be dishonest, to be unethical, to be harmful to their competitors, or harmful to their community, to make the almighty dollar, that's not a good thing. In fact, it will drive any nation, as it has in history, so also is it doing today. It will drive any nation to its doom. We are creating a plan called New Millennial Life. New Millennial Life is all about fulfilling the mission of Zion Life Foundation, a public charity, which for about 7 years now, since 2011, has been set up specifically for that purpose. Let me walk you briefly through that, and then I'm going to walk you through the foundation upon which that New Millennial lifestyle is built, the foundation upon which this organization is built, so that it can accomplish the type of design that it was created to accomplish. First of all, the mission of Zion Life Foundation is to prepare people of all races and cultures to live the cooperative free enterprise lifestyle of the 7 pillars of pure love, trust, and cooperation. I'm going to talk more in depth about the 7 pillars now. I have been through the previous 5 videos just teasing you with the power behind those 7 pillars. Now I'm going to reveal what they are, how they work, and then in a following video we'll get into much greater depth on that. The spreading of this lifestyle, based on the 7 pillars of love, trust, and cooperation, is indeed the last step in the divine evolution of freedom before the establishment of world peace. This is something I've been studying for the last 27 years, since a very private, very special, very sacred experience in my life that turned me on a course of determination to reach what we're doing right now. We want to launch what I believe was foretold many, many millennia ago, and for many centuries to come since that time until our day. We want to launch what was foretold in the sign on September 23rd, 2017, not even a year ago, about the birth of Universal Zion. Now, many people speculated that this may be the rapture coming. This might be the sign that the end of the world was here. It is not the end of the world. It is not the rapture. It is not the second coming of Jesus Christ. It is the birth of Universal Zion. Now, what is Universal Zion? Let me recap, if I haven't stated it well enough in prior videos. Briefly, Universal Zion is a way of life intended for all mankind. A way of life that predates Noah. It predates the flood and the ark. It predates clear back to the days of Enoch in the city of Zion, which Enoch built over about a 300-year period of time, 365 years, I think, to be exact by biblical terms. In the city of Zion, all the people gathered together to live this lifestyle of Universal Zion. They loved each other. They trusted each other. They worked together as a unit to be able to build and produce abundance beyond measure. Abundance so that everyone in that community, everyone in that city, everyone who participated in that Universal Zion lifestyle had everything they needed. It didn't matter who owned what, although there may have been ownership, there may have been free enterprise, but cooperative free enterprise is the key. They cooperated together. They didn't tear each other down. It wasn't survival of the fittest. It wasn't every man for himself. It was every man for his neighbor. Every man for one another. Every man seeking the welfare of the entire community with that which he possessed, that which he controlled, that which or for which he was responsible. Every man, woman, and child was raised in the same lifestyle of love your neighbor as thyself. And they lived it. They cared about it. It was shoppers who cared about the merchants, and merchants who cared about the shoppers. It was doctors who cared about the patients, and patients who cared about the doctors. It was everyone in the community, any type of merchant, any type of office, any type of responsibility or role that was played out in that community of Universal Zion, the city of Zion, the holy city of Zion that Enoch and his people built. They all participated in the same values, the same system, the same lifestyle. I'm going to present to you that lifestyle in this particular video presentation, and then I'm going to elaborate on it further in those that will follow, in one or two that will follow. Please watch carefully. We're going to go on to New Millennial Life. Now, New Millennial Life is built on a 7 pillars foundation of pure love, worthy trust, and voluntary cooperation. Worthy trust because you have to have honest people. It's got to be worthy. You could have all kinds of people trusting all kinds of things and then prove it was just false hope. It wasn't called for. It wasn't justified because the person they were trusting was not honest or wasn't competent. It has to be worthy trust. Pure love, meaning love that is moral. Love that is built on lasting values. Love that is built on values that continue to build and sustain a marriage and a family and a community and a culture on and on and on throughout millennia of time, if necessary. And as long as that pure love and worthy trust is maintained in a community or a culture, then you may have voluntary cooperation. The voluntary cooperation results in the following. Well, in New Millennial Life, we want to work toward the best. We want to believe and work toward all mankind being able and willing to accept, to embrace, and to follow and participate in this type of a lifestyle I'm going to be presenting. We believe it's possible. We want it to be possible. But if it is not, we also want to prepare for the worst. What if a lot of mankind will not participate? What if they won't embrace this new millennial life? What if they will not look forward to what is necessary to reverse the downward spiraling trend, like a runaway train on a spiral staircase, that is destroying nations, destroying peoples and cultures, that is running them into the ground morally, financially, mentally, physically, spiritually? It's running them into the ground with debt, national debts, with not just financial debt, but the spiritual debt, with dishonesty, with betrayals, with the corruption and the criminal activity that goes on throughout the world in so many nations. There is a debt to be paid. People pay debts as individuals, both temporal and spiritual. Also, nations pay debts, spiritual and temporal. There's a debt that must be paid, and so often, when things have gone so far, those types of debts for nations are paid through bloodshed. Regrettably so, sadly so, but they are so often paid out through bloodshed. The freedom of men and women and children and families, of religions and of peoples and cultures, is won by very expensive blood, by the best blood of all, the blood of the brave, the blood of those who will sacrifice their own lives for the freedom of others. We've seen it many times, we hear it all the time, we watch it in movies and in reports and documentaries. We see heroic behavior like this. That type of freedom is won very expensively, sadly, by great sacrifice of the best blood. We would imagine that for the world we live in, the time will very likely come when the very best of our blood will be spent. Perhaps much of it through great injustice. Perhaps much of it also through heroism. Perhaps because of the love of family and the love of neighbors, some will die laying down their lives for their friends. And many will die also because of corruption, because they in themselves live in a corrupt life. They in themselves have become so trapped, so entrenched in the ways of what I call the seven chains, which are the antithesis or the opposites of the seven pillars we'll be talking about. Lives that get wrapped up in the chains, lives that do not know how to escape those chains, inevitably and eventually, without exception, are drawn down deeper and deeper into those chains until they cannot escape them. At least, not without miraculous help. We want to work for the best. We want to believe in mankind. We want to believe that this world can turn around, change the tide of where it's been going, to come back and recover. The reality may be, however, that it may not do that. And so the idea here is to be working for the best and preparing for the worst, while we are serving one another in a world family organization of good neighbors. Good neighbors who heal society, they grow economy, they nurture peace, and produce compassionate abundance for the purpose of eliminating all forms of involuntary poverty. This is what I call a community of Good Samaritans who live the Golden Rule. Good Samaritans who are continually looking out for their neighbor, watching out for those in need, willing to give of their substance, of their time, of their talents, their efforts, willing to lay their lives on the line, to put them at risk for others around them in their community, even those they don't know, a stranger. These are Good Samaritans, and we want to invite all people, everywhere, from all over the world, all cultures, all religions, all races and colors, male and female, old and young. We want to invite as many as will resonate with this value, this lifestyle, this endeavor, to come and join with us, to help us to build a new millennial life. I believe God intends for us to work at it, not just wait around for Him to do everything for us. I believe it means we need to work at it, make the best of our lives, offer the best of our lives, look out for other people, and spend our lives in one another's service. The purpose behind all of this is to learn to create lasting unity, peace, and freedom, regardless of race, color, creed, gender, or past social stigmas, in order to survive and triumph over the end times, which we are already in. There are storms coming that will rage so violently, so tempestuously all around us. There will be no way to survive those storms in our future unless we learn to live by this lifestyle of love, trust, and cooperation. Unless we know who we can trust, who we can bond with, who we can gather together with for protection, for prosperity, for the assistance to accomplish and overcome those things which cannot be done by ourselves, but only with a community lifestyle of love, trust, and cooperation. People who understand the values of the seven pillars of peace and freedom, the seven pillars that create this lifestyle, this new millennial life of love, trust, and cooperation, which results in the abundance necessary so that all people who participate in that lifestyle, in that community, in that environment, working together in the same way, can eliminate poverty among them. What is the vision that we look forward to? Those who have prepared by listening, by learning, and striving to live by the new millennial lifestyle that will be shown here in these seven pillars of love, trust, and cooperation, entering triumphantly into 1,000 years of world peace, which is universal Zion life, a new millennial life. Some may think, why do we call this new millennial life? Well, new millennial life refers to a millennium, 1,000-year period. It also refers to a lifestyle. It also refers to, in our day, millennials. Millennials who are entering into this next millennium, this one we're in right now, this seventh millennium. Millennials who are born just inside of this, like my daughter, my youngest daughter, she's born in this millennium. She is a millennial. Some people think that millennials are, oh, well, they're just up to a certain age, maybe just below 38 to 40 years old. I don't believe millennials are limited to an age. I believe millennials are inclusive of all those who resonate with the new millennial lifestyle that we must live by if we're going to have a chance of escaping the downward spiraling corruption of the world we live in and the great raging storms that are yet to come in our future. I believe millennials are those people who love their neighbor. I believe they're those people who look out for one another, who are going to resonate with, who will gather to, be drawn to this type of a lifestyle of loving one another, trusting one another, and cooperating together so that we together among ourselves can eliminate poverty and provide all manner of the riches of that lifestyle, which are not just money. Money cannot buy everything. Riches and wealth and prosperity come of much more than money. It comes of relationships of all different types, the best of relationships. This vision of a new millennial lifestyle, a universal Zion life that is coming in this next 1,000 years, this vision is one I have seen as a reality, as though we're already here. About 27 years ago on the 5th of December, 1991. I have seen those people living together, trusting each other implicitly, with no fear among them whatsoever, no judgment or condemnation one toward another, despite past social stigmas or titles or public records that may have been on someone's forehead or on the internet. There was no distrust because everyone loved each other. Everyone trusted each other. Everyone worked together to help one another rise and lift. It was interdependent self-reliance. There is no such thing as a man or woman standing by themselves and never having a need for anyone else. It just doesn't exist. It's not even possible. We need each other. So this business of being independent, this business of meaning I created myself, I'm a self-made man, I'm a self-made millionaire, that's not true at all. There's no truth in it. No one is self-made. We are made by all the experiences and all the relationships that are around us in our lives from our birth forward. And some would say even prior to our birth. We are made by the community, by the society, by the culture, by the religion, by the philosophies that we grow up in. We're made by those experiences that we have. We want to make sure that we work together to help each other interdependently become self-reliant, interdependently to become self-sufficient, interdependently to become prepared for emergencies, to interdependently help each other have all of the advantages, whether we own them or not, to interdependently help each other learn how to love each other, learn how to trust each other, learn how to cooperate together, learn how to create abundance, so much so that it doesn't even matter who owns it, because everyone is willing to share. Everyone is willing to work. Everyone's willing to contribute and participate and add to for the good of the whole, even though we respect completely cooperative free enterprise, individual ownership. There's no need to cast everything into the same pot. There's no need to turn it all over to a central administration to govern everything. Because when you teach people how to live this lifestyle of love, trust, and cooperation, when they understand the values of the 7 pillars of peace and freedom, they learn how to govern themselves. And they learn that by doing so, they receive the very most in return as well. When everyone is working for the good of the others around them, they all receive according to what is best. Let's go on and take a look at the formula here. I've shown this to you before. I'm going to quickly go over it again. The LTC relationship equation for world peace, freedom, and prosperity. This literally is the equation. Love, pure love, plus worthy trust, multiplied by voluntary cooperation, equals ever-increasing abundance. Ever-increasing community abundance. There's no reason for poverty. There's no cause for poverty. No reason we should have it in this world if we were to live by this relationship equation, this formula at all times. People who will gather together in enough numbers can offer resources of all different types such that we should never have to be poor. It doesn't mean we're going to walk around in lavish clothing or lavish houses or lavish cars or lavish offices. Maybe we could have that, but we don't need to have it because we have everything else we need. We don't need to own all the boats because the boats are available. We don't have to own all the equipment because it's available in our community. People who love each other and can trust each other can share with each other. They don't mind, and they cooperate together. They help one another, and therefore everyone has what is needed because everyone respects the property of others. They return it when they borrow it. If they break it, they fix it in every way they can. If they can't fix it, the one who loaned it to them forgives it anyway. Because you know what? We all have what we need. We all look out for each other. We forgive things we can't control. We forgive mistakes, and we start over again every time, as often as it takes, with sincere hearts, with respect for our neighbor, respect for paying back what we've borrowed, for giving back what has been loaned to us. It's a matter of looking at one another and saying, I care about these people. I care about my neighbors, and I want them to care about me. It's the one for all and all for one spirit of the Three Musketeers. That motto sums it up. Love, trust, and cooperation in a spirit of one for all and all for one creates an atmosphere of interdependent self-sufficiency or self-reliance in all things in the community environment. This is the formula we need to achieve. To do so, we have to be founded on a solid foundation that will not fail. That foundation is what I call the 7 pillars of peace and freedom, or the 7 pillars of love, trust, and cooperation. They are named the 7 pillars of anything good that's out there. For instance, natural law, the 7 pillars of good parenting, the 7 pillars of teen life, the 7 pillars of successful business. They're all here in these 7 categories, and there they are in front of you. Humble, or humility, and teachableness, teachability, however you want to call that. Truth and wisdom is pillar number 2. Faith and trust is the 3rd. Sacrifice and obedience. Forgiveness and letting go is pillar number 5. Number 6 is hope and confidence. And number 7 is charity. Pure, unconditional love. Selflessness. The 7 pillars are empowered by and always coincide with natural law. Their power is to identify and unlock hidden false beliefs generated by their opposite, the 7 chains of conflict, bondage, and failure. The 7 pillars are keys to unlocking the power within us to create LTC, which stands for love, trust, and cooperation. LTC relationships at home, with friends, in business, community, and government. Quite frankly, these 7 pillars are what support and make possible everything that is good, everything that is wise, everything that is true, and they are governed by truth and wisdom all the time. The 7 pillars must be governed by truth and wisdom, or they can be counterfeited. Where do these 7 pillars come from? The inspiration that led me to do the research on them and create this system came from Proverbs in the Old Testament. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 1, stated here above, Wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. Well, if wisdom is building her house based or founded on those 7 pillars, wisdom must represent God. God, who builds his house on those 7 pillars, must think very highly of those 7 pillars. They must be immovable. They must be eternal. They must be perfect. They must be able to support everything that God does in his house. And what is God's house? We are his house. The house of Israel is all the 12 tribes of Israel, all the descendants, all the population. Well, the house of God is all of his children, all of his population, all of his descendants, those who he created among the children of God. It's us. We are his house. He built his house on the 7 pillars of wisdom. That means he created everything that he does based on these 7 pillars of wisdom. these 7 pillars are what we're made of. It's our makeup. It's our fabric. And anything we do because of it that is contrary to these 7 pillars is counterproductive. It's self-sabotaging. It breaks us down. It weakens us. It drains us of energy. And the deeper we get into their opposites, what I call the 7 chains, the deeper we go into those opposites, the weaker we become, the more corrupted we become, the more confused and distorted our minds become, the more addicted we become to all those chains which are addicted by nature. Come, join the Hightower Humanitarian Project. I'm inviting you. Donate at 7pillarsfoundation.org. You can reach me and an email that way too, but that's also how you can donate through PayPal. Zion Life Foundation is conducting a charitable crowdfunding campaign. This is because when I went to God over and over and over to know how we were going to fund this program, He kept telling me, go to the people. Go to the people. So that's what we're doing. We're going to the people. I want the people to have a stake. I want the people to feel like this is theirs. They're building it together, not just 5 or 6 people. That's wonderful for profit making, but it isn't for this. This community must not have owners, stockholders, shareholders, royalty owners. It cannot have them. It needs to be humanitarian. It needs to be charitable. It needs to be for the good of everyone in the community. It needs to be that everyone at the top, in administration, in affiliate networking, in whatever business networking goes on here, everyone is looking out for everyone else. It needs to be that all the money that comes into the cooperative funnels back to the benefit of the community and the people in it, to help them, to help the newcomers, to help people get on their feet, to help them find stability, to help them start making money within the cooperative and sharing their resources and their talents and skills as well. We can do anything, literally anything, as more and more people catch the vision of this, catch the spirit of this cooperative way of life. It's free, it's peaceful, it's liberating, it's so satisfying, and I look forward to working together with all of you who will come and join the Hightower Humanitarian Project of Zion Life Foundation. Please, we invite you to donate at 7pillarsfoundation.org via paypal.com, or you can also go to paypal.me/7pillarsfoundation. You can donate any amount. It is appreciated. Sometimes a $25 donation is just as much as a $10,000 donation, depending on who's giving it and what their circumstances are. If a person is giving all they possibly can at $25, and another's giving all they possibly can at $10,000, then as far as I'm concerned, the 2 donations are equal in value. They're equal because they both gave all they could. So anyone who does the best they can in making a donation, their donation is equal to the value of another. It may be different amounts of money, but as far as I'm concerned, that person is like the widow's mite in the New Testament. It was all she had, and the Lord counted that as more than all those others who were putting it in together all around her from their plenty. So thank you for your generosity. Thank you for $10. Thank you for $100. Thank you for $1,200 or $600 or $10,000. Thank you for your help. Thank you for participating in this Hightower Humanitarian Project. Thank you for joining us to build a new millennial life for mankind. If you're interested in donating through any other means, you may also send a cashier's check or money order. Here is the address to send it to. This is the other credentials for Zion Life Foundation, also known as 7 Pillars Foundation, a 509(a)(2) public charity, also initially a 501c3. The DLN number is its identification for the public charity. Or you can send a credit card information to the address above. You may also contact me, Stephen, at 7pillarsfoundation.org. You will get an email to me either way through donate at 7pillarsfoundation.org or Stephen at 7pillarsfoundation.org. I will be very pleased to respond, very pleased to have your interest, even your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know how you'd like to participate. I'll be more than happy to communicate. Thank you very, very much. We'll take a break now and prepare ourselves for the next video that follows this, which may go into some even greater depth on the 7 pillars, the 7 chains, and additional training. This is Stephen Thomas Story signing off for New Millennial Life and Zion Life Foundation. Thank you.